Hi, my name is Ted Benyon, and I've been asked by the Medford Pear Orchard to give a video presentation for the row coordinators in our stake. The first thing I want to do is delineate what is the responsibility of a row coordinator. Row coordinators are in charge of serving anywhere from 8 to 12 volunteers who are in the orchard picking pears. The row coordinator makes sure that those volunteers have a great experience and that they are able to fill level full bins full of quality fruit. That is our primary responsibility. Now, we have to remember, as with any authority that we have from our Heavenly Father, we need to remember always that we use patience, long-suffering, gentleness, and meekness, that we have love unfeigned or unfaked, and that we show kindness and pure knowledge. Now, I'm in charge of the pure knowledge part in today's presentation, but you're in charge of making sure that you bring all those other qualities to your actions as a row coordinator to make sure that everyone has a great experience, that they want to come back, and that they feel like they've fulfilled an important responsibility in our Heavenly Father's kingdom in providing for the needs of His children. So let's get started with just what are those specific responsibilities as a row coordinator. One unfortunate truth about being a row coordinator is that you take a little more flack. You're standing there. You're not actually doing the work, and so you're going to hear a little bit more of that at times. Although I must say, since we've been doing this for many years, we don't quite hear it as much. But it's tempting to put a bucket on and get to work. But I can just tell you, having watched this for many years, it's when that happens, when people don't have a focus and somebody's not watching the bins and they're not watching the pickers and kind of just keeping order and making sure everyone's comfortable, if they need water, or if they're not picking quite right, to be gently telling them how to work it. Things just get out of hand. It's not a difficult job, but it is one that requires attention. I would liken it to the watchman on the tower. The watchman on the tower stands up on a tower looking for the enemies that are going to invade the Lord's vineyard, right? And that's not really a heavy-duty job. There's not a lot of strain and effort to it, but it requires diligence. And if that watchman on the tower says, golly, all the people down there are working, I'm going to go down there and work too, then there's nobody up there to keep an eye on things, and they do fall apart rather quickly. So you've got your orange vest on, and you don't have your bucket on. And that orange vest and the lack of a bucket allows others to see you as a point man to go to if they need help or that kind of thing. One of the questions is, how do we divide up our labor? What's my row? What does a row constitute? A row is this half of the tree on this side and the half a tree on that side. This is my row when I'm a row coordinator. We don't have to pick the whole tree. We pick the half of the tree facing our row that we're picking into. As we pick, we're responsible for the whole tree. Unless we're doing platform, which some of the upper orchard is a platform picking, but if you have ladders that are working on your row, you as a row coordinator need to ensure that the pears are picked for the whole tree. So what I recommend is that you get at least get your tallest people in an 8 to 12 man crew and have them pick as high on the tree as possible. It creates less work for your ladder workers and makes you move much more efficiently along your row. So they need to pick as high as they can. I would take my shorter crew members, and I'd have them working on the lower edges, and I like to have my leaners as my tall guys. They'll come at the end of everyone else, but right before the ladder workers, and they'll make sure that they've picked everything pretty high and check to make sure the tree's pretty bare, and then move on to the next. So when I've got a crew, I've got my forward workers, they're working and getting through the tree and trying to make sure they've got everything picked. Then I've got my two tall people, one on one side and one on the other, and they're going real high, and they're also checking to make sure everything's picked. And then behind them, I have the workers that are on the ladders, and they're up on the ladders and making sure they've pulled off the top of the tree. When they're done, they make sure that everything's picked from the tree again and move forward. Okay? Good. As you're working, one of the responsibilities is to understand how many people are in your crew. We want to keep the crews at 8 to 12. Anything below 8, and you just don't move fast enough. It gets discouraging to the pickers to not move along. Above 12 becomes a little difficult to control everyone and make sure that everyone's doing their job and moving along well. So as you're with that group, kind of get an idea who's going to be leaving and who's coming. And if you find that somebody's going to be leaving in a little bit, and as you get a sense for where your crew is dwindling below that 8 number, you want to let the other administrators know that you're going to need more people in that crew. You may find out that your ladder pickers may be leaving and you're going to need another set of ladder pickers. The earlier we know that, the better as we're working with it, so that we can fill your crew back up and make sure you're always at top level. If you have ladder pickers, it's important that you make sure that your crew doesn't get too far ahead of the ladder pickers. If you find your ladder pickers really getting behind, you want to make sure first of all that you got 2 ladder pickers on each side. So 2 here, 2 there, 4 ladder pickers. Sometimes you need to switch ladder pickers. Sometimes they're just not able to do that efficiently or effectively, and it's a good invitation to invite them to pick on the ground for a while and have someone else that's on the ground picking in the ladder. Brother Nielsen likes to remind everyone that there are no ladder pickers, there are no ground pickers. We're all pickers, and we can be assigned to different parts of that orchard at different times. So be kind of watching to see how your ladders are doing and if they're keeping up, because they really shouldn't be that far behind everyone else.